From the Introducing Maya series of books, we'll be taking a look at the throwing an axe exercise found in Chapter 8. First, I'm going to make sure my project is set to my axe project, which is downloadable from the book's website at wiley.com. We'll go ahead and open up the first file I'm looking for is axv1.mb. There's no animation. We've got an axe object here and a target object here. Both are grouped so that I have control over the full axe and control over the target. I'll start by turning on the selection handle because, as you can see, when I click on the axe I only get part of the axe, either the handle or the head. So I'm going to turn on the selection component by selecting the group node in the outliner and going to Display, Transform Display, Selection Handle. Now anytime I select that handle I get the full group. I can do the same for the target. Again, that is Display, Transform Display, Selection Handle. You may be wondering where the target handle is. It's right back here. With the axe handle selected, I'm going to make sure I'm at frame 1. I'm going to set translation and rotation keyframes like such. I can also press Shift E and Shift W to set keyframes for rotation and translation. Again, Shift W for translate, Shift E for rotate. I'm going to create anticipation for my axe. So I'm going to go ahead and go to frame 15 and I'm going to move the axe handle back, or I should say the whole axe, about 8 units in X. There's about 8 units. And I will also rotate it back counterclockwise about 45 degrees. If I scrub my animation, here's the anticipation of the actual axe throw. Since I have auto keyframe enabled, which is this key right down here, it set the keyframes automatically because I already had keyframes set for translate at frame 1 and rotate at frame 1. So any subsequent moves or rotations I create on this object will automatically be keyframed. Now we'll go to frame 40 and I will move the axe into the middle of the target. Go ahead and now what I can do is, holding the W key, if I click with the left mouse button I can select the axis of my translation to make it a little bit easier to move. Go ahead and put it right in the center here. Hit E for rotate. Go ahead and rotate this guy. Go back to W for move. And there we go. Right in the center of the target. Now if I scrub my animation, you'll notice that going backwards is different than it was before. We'll go ahead and open up the graph editor and take a look at the curves. And the reason being, with auto keyframe, when we went from 1 to 15 to create that anticipation, there was no keyframe set for Y. So what we need to do is select that first translate Y keyframe, and by holding Shift and the middle mouse button I'm moving the first keyframe of the translate Y to frame 15. So we are back to the original anticipation move that we created before, and the Y descent into the target is now from frame 15 to 40. Now let's give the animation a little bit of an arc. So we'll go to about the middle here. Let's say frame 27. and I'm going to go ahead and switch my translation axis by holding down the W key and then left clicking on the object and going into the object, and I'm going to raise the object in its own axis to about there, and that will give me an additional keyframe for Y. See that it also set an additional keyframe for X. I'm going to hit delete and just get rid of that. No big deal. And then we can see now we've got a bit more of an arc, and we can adjust that to make it higher or lower as we see fit. Now let's talk about the spin of the axe. Isn't very dramatic. So at frame 40, I'm going to hit E for rotate. I'm going to do a full clockwise spin, and hopefully that gives me a nice spin of the axe. And what that's done, if we take a look again in the graph editor, it has given us a much better rotation to give us a 360-degree spin. Now if I want to create more of a spin for the axe, I want to make sure in the graph editor that I can do that by grabbing the final keyframe and pressing Shift and the middle mouse button when I'm in the Move tool. I can go ahead and add a second spin if I want. And now the axe will spin twice. I'm just going to go ahead and keep it at a single spin by moving it back up to about where it was. So we've done the gross animation for the axe, and in the next video we're going to pick up where we leave off here, and we're going to add some follow through and some tweaking to give the axe some weight and momentum.